Okay, I'm going to start by, oh good, somebody started the recording for me. Thank you, whoever helped me with that. But if you did not get a chance to, let's see here. If you did not get a chance to record your attendance, please do so now. And we are going to go ahead and get started with this. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Good. It's so quiet on this end, it was hard to tell. All right, well, this is your initial logistics training, and we wish we could have done it in person. However, with everybody spread across all 3 states, that was not possible. And so we're hoping that this will be an opportunity for you to learn what all that you need to learn for this drop-off or for the National Collection Week. But at the same time, if you have questions afterwards, you can always refer them to your central drop-off team leader or your logistics coordinator or your area coordinator or your regional manager. And if you wouldn't mind muting your cells right now so that we don't have any background noise throughout the presentation, I would appreciate it.
Hello? Can anyone
Hello?
hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, we're still trying to figure out. I'm not hearing anybody talk. Is Tracy talking?
Hey,
I don't hear
Heidi,
Tracy.
this is Shelly, and I'm not sure where Tracy is, so I'm gonna text her. Y'all hold on just 1 second, and we'll get this figured out.
Can you all still hear me?
Now we can.
Hello?
Are you there, Tracy?
Okay. All right, can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And
I heard that.
Can you see my screen? You should not see my screen yet. Let me represent it.
Okay.
I'm muting my mic.
Okay, so do you see my screen at all?
Not yet.
No. What do you see now? Anything?
Just the gallery.
Okay. Jody, could you possibly pull up the PowerPoint and present it from yours? Did I send it to you or from Box?
Yeah, I can try.
And then I can just talk while you click.
Okay, sounds good. Just the standard one from box?
It says initial logistics training with today's date on it.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all, for the delay.
No problem.
Tracy, read that title back again, just so I make sure I got the right one.
Initial logistics training, October 18th. It's under Collection Network.
Yeah, I'm there. October 18th.
It's down pretty far.
I have logistics conference call PowerPoint 2017.
Keep going down.
Expansion plan.
Nope, keep going down.
NCW Prep PowerPoint 2017.
Keep going down because it'll have today's date on it.
Oh, Tracy. Well, it doesn't have today's date.
Here, I'll pull up Box and read it to you. Thank y'all for your patience. I'm sorry we're having these difficulties. It says initial logistics training on October 18th. And it's like the second, right above your logistics call. It's the second from the bottom.
Okay, then I've got Southeast Collection Network, and then it's not at the second from the bottom.
All right, well, let me try presenting one more time.
Okay.
Do y'all have my desktop?
Here it is.
There it is. We got it.
Okay.
Maybe it was the video that messed it up.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll play the video before I go into slideshow mode. Let's see if you hear the video. Can you all see and hear it?
Can't hear it.
Can't hear it, just see it.
Okay. Maybe I'll just go on with the presentation. And we won't have the video. The video is awesome, though. It's very inspiring about why drop-off locations are so important and why it's important to not just to collect the shoe boxes, but to actually connect with the donors that come in. So we'll go on. Let me present from the beginning or from this current slide. You all still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I do apologize. I'm not sure what's going on, and I'm just going to try and roll with it. So since 1993, we've collected over 144 million, or we've distributed shoe boxes to over 144 million children in 150 countries and territories. I put our goals on here. The Southeast region is Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, those 3 states. And our goal is to collect 1.85 million shoe boxes this year. In the United States, the goal is 9.6 million, and then internationally, it's 12 million gospel opportunities is what we're hoping to collect and what we're praying to collect this year. Operation Christmas Child is so much more than just collecting shoe boxes. And that's something that you guys are vital parts of presenting to the public. This National Collection Week is like our big Super Bowl event. This is the time when everybody comes to drop off a shoebox, and we want you to make sure that you are sharing the message with them that Operation Christmas Child is more than just presenting shoebox gifts to needing children. It's about evangelism, discipleship, and multiplication. This is an opportunity to let people know what the ministry is all about, and that you will be surprised how many people will come through the doors of your drop-off location who have no idea that it's more than just a gift for a needy child. And so we really encourage you to look at, present a good display and share the information with them that we're about evangelism, discipleship, and multiplication. We want everybody who comes in to have a Jesus encounter. And what we mean by that is it's going to be more than you just having a transaction. If you think about Chick-fil-A and Burger King, at Burger King, you pay your money, you get your food. If you're lucky, you get a straw and a napkin with it, and that's about it. At Chick-fil-A, they welcome you, they engage you, they greet you as you come in. They not only give you your food, they give you the straw, the napkin, the sauce. They refill your drinks for you. They always say, "My pleasure," at the end of it. That's the kind of experience that we want you providing for our donors that come in and for the volunteers. We want you to be engaging them and really sharing with them about what the ministry is about, but also making them feel valued, making them realize how important they are to this ministry. You're part of an area team, and I put up that chart for you because you may not realize I was a drop-off team leader for 2 years and did not realize that I was a year-round team member. You may be in those same shoes that I was in. And I just want to make sure that you understand that you are part of the year-round team. We have area coordinators. We've got 41 area teams across our 3 states. And if you are in an active area, it means that you have local leadership with an area coordinator. And the area coordinator then oversees the 6 different ministry areas: logistics, church, prayer, media, student, and community relations. And then there are team members on each of those teams. You all are part of the logistics team. And so you hopefully have a logistics coordinator who oversees the team. If you don't, you've definitely got a central drop-off team leader. And I know one person on this call is a central drop-off team leader as well. And so your central drop-off team leader, that is who you bring your shoe boxes to their location. As a year-round team member, the bulk of your efforts will be spent during National Collection Week, but also throughout the year, you're going to be participating in team meetings. And then one thing that all team members do year-round is recruit for the area team. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get towards the end of it. So now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. What happens before, during, and after? And this is probably the part that you all are eager to learn about. I know if you're like me, you're probably a type A personality. You've accepted the job and you want to get the job done. And so we're going to try to equip you as best as possible for all that you need to know. The first thing that we want to talk about is what happens before National Collection Week. And so before it begins, it's all about promoting your location. In your drop-off kits, you've got banners, and we want you to hang up those banners. Don't wait till the day of National Collection Week. Hang it up a little bit before. Let people realize you are the drop-off location. When you filled out your profile and agreement with your hours, that activated our zip code locator online, and so people can just type in their zip code, and they'll see what drop-off locations are available for them to go to be able to drop off their shoe boxes. I just want to throw out here, it is so important for you to be open the hours that you committed to on your profile agreement. Last year, we had 700 phone calls. You know how they always say like one person really represents 10? So that's like even scarier when you think about how many people this happened to. But 700 people called Boone, our headquarters in Boone, to say they were standing outside of a drop-off location and it was closed, even though it had posted hours that it was open. That is not a transformational experience for our donors. That is not what this ministry is about. So you really need to stick to the hours that you have committed to. But other ways to promote your location is to host a countdown event. Typically, countdown events happen in September or early October, and so we've kind of missed the window on that. But if it's something that you've got already in the plans, it would be great to follow through on. And then you can also call the donors on your drop-off logs. Your drop-off logs, if you have not seen those yet, you'll need to contact either your logistics coordinator or your area coordinator or your regional manager, and they can share those with you. And those are the logs of people who dropped off last year. And so you'll be able to contact them and say, hey, we are the new drop-off location for your area. This is where you can bring your shoe boxes to. Never underestimate the power of good signage. Signage is so important. On top of the banner, you also want to think about where you're putting your signage. Many of you have churches that have multiple entrances. I want you to think about your church, or even think about inviting somebody, like I'm sure you've got neighbors who don't attend your church or friends. Ask them to come and check out your signage. Have them walk in with fresh eyes and look and say, do I know which door to enter? Do I know where the drop-off location is? Can I follow these signs and get to where I need to go? We want to make it very clear where they're supposed to park, where they enter, where they go to. And another great thing about signage is we had two experiences that I want to share with you. The first one is a negative one. And a gentleman went to the drop-off location and circled the building and could not figure out where to go in. He could not figure out where the actual drop-off was inside the building, and so he left. Like, that is one gospel opportunity that we don't know if it ever reached a child. On the flip side of that, we had a man in Augusta, Georgia, who was just driving down the road and saw the banner, looked up and saw all this activity at the church, did not know anything at all about the ministry, ended up pulling over to see what was going on, and he ended up volunteering several days that week because of signage. Make sure your signage is very clear. Now, staffing your drop-off locations. This, we know, is not something we expect you to do on your own. We do not expect you to be at your drop-off location for all the hours by yourself, handling all the different roles that are required. And we know that, like I said earlier, many of you are type A personalities and you can do it all yourself. We know that. We know you're perfectly capable of counting cartons, and you're perfectly capable of counting shoe boxes and filling out forms. And that sometimes it may seem like other people might get in the way. You might think, well, I don't need anybody else to do this, or they're going to mess up my system. I've got a plan here. All of those things are possibly true, but what I want you to think about is something far beyond that, and that is that serving is a privilege. I'm going to read Romans 12:1. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be living and holy sacrifice, the kind you will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him. It may take more work to give others the opportunity to serve, but that's what this ministry is about. It's about sharing God on this side of the shoebox. We have this great opportunity to share the gospel with you.
Didn't seem like it was lined up.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
If you wouldn't mind muting your computers right now, that would be awesome. So it's about sharing the ministry or sharing the gospel with children across the world, but it's also about sharing on this side of the world. We have an opportunity to share this ministry, the volunteers that walk in, and share gospel opportunities with them as well. And so we honor God when we engage others in ministry. And so we encourage you to really build a team. And these are some of the roles that you'll want to build before National Collection Week. You're going to want a volunteer recruiter, somebody who is actually signing up people to work during those hours that you're open, and a volunteer trainer. And that could be the same person. Some of these roles might overlap, but don't feel like you have to do it all yourself. Also, you want someone who's in charge of prayer, a person who can maybe enlist other pastors to come and pray on different days during the week and open you up with a devotion, open the drop-off each day with a different devotion and lead a prayer. And you want to make sure it's somebody who's comfortable praying with strangers so that when people walk in the door, they're comfortable asking them, can I pray for the child who's receiving your box? Your drop-off log supervisor, that's the person who fills out the drop-off logs, and I'll be showing you those in a little while. But that is somebody who has legible handwriting and is a warm, friendly, greeting kind of a person who is able to encourage the donors to fill out their information. Another role is hospitality/ministry, and that is just all about not just the decorations and the music and the atmosphere, but also about sharing the ministry. That person who's going to be walking donors through the resource table and really sharing with them about what the ministry is all about. And then you've got someone who strictly fills out the Excel drop-off logs. So they take the information from the drop-off logs and they put it into the Excel spreadsheet. Finally, you're all going to need to arrange for transportation to bring your boxes from your drop-off location to the central drop-off location. And then you'll want someone who is your assistant or site leader. And that person is there if you cannot be, so that if there are questions, it's somebody who knows enough to be able to answer those questions. We just want to encourage you to remember that you can't do this alone, and we really want you to involve the community. During National Collection Week, the people that you need are greeters. You'll need several people outside who are greeting as cars pull up. You'll need counters. We strongly encourage you to have 2 people counting separately. And so like what I did was I had just little scraps of paper, and 2 different people would go and count the number of shoe boxes, write it down, and then compare their notes to make sure your numbers are accurate. Your promotional person, that's the person who is sharing about the ministry, the different aspects of the ministry, and we'll go through those in a little bit. And then your cartonizers, they stack the shoe boxes into the cartons, and then you've got your person who's providing snacks or makes a snack schedule so that you have food available for the donors and the volunteers. And the snacks are optional. It's just a nice touch to have during that week. All your supplies are shipped in your drop-off kit, which most of you probably have already received. Some of you may still be waiting for it to arrive. You'll also be getting your cartons at your tape at your National Collection Week prep meeting. And then also your central drop-off team leaders have received an email with resources that they will email to you digitally, plus things that they will bring to that meeting to give to you that we've provided from the regional office. Something else to consider is an opening ceremony. And we like to think of it as an opening prayer ceremony. To kick off your week with a time of prayer, have a ceremonial ribbon cutting ceremony, and just an opportunity to dedicate that site and the entire week to God. It can be something very small that it just involves your church or your volunteers, the church staff, or you can make it big and invite the community and have other churches and groups come, invite the paper. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. So now we're going to move into what needs to happen during National Collection Week. We're going to talk about the 6 core values and principles. A drop-off location is prayerful, transformational, active, promotional, efficient, and accurate. And I sent in the email a summary sheet of all 6 of these core values, just for you to keep on hand and to be able to refer to and just kind of remind yourself throughout the week why you're doing what you're doing. So the first one is prayerful. The backbone of Operation Christmas Child is prayer. Everything we do is bathed in prayer, and we fully believe that God is in control of this ministry. We want you to pray with every donor. When a donor walks up, greet them. Say, "Hi, my name is Tracy. What's your name? Can I pray with you for the child who received the shoebox gift?" It's a great opportunity to share Christ when you're praying together with someone else. We encourage you to have an on-site prayer team, and each team has prayer members on their team, so it would be a great time to involve the area team in it. We want to make sure that your location is opened up every day with prayer. And then we have on the extranet a photo bundle. I believe it's $8, but it's pictures of children, and you can create your own little prayer wall and offer for your donors to come in and take a child and pray for them. Write a little prayer on the back, and then you can send those back into us, and we can continue them up through headquarters. The next thing is to be transformational, and I shared a little bit about this when I talked about the Chick-fil-A experience versus the Burger King experience, but it's all about creating a positive experience for the donor and for the volunteer. We want to convey the love of Christ to every donor, and we can only do that when we take the time to think about the little details and not focus on getting that shoebox from their hands. Think about the atmosphere and how it allows people to experience Jesus on this side of the box. You know, what can you do to enhance that time and that space when those donors come through the door? You've only got them there for a few minutes, really, depending on the number of shoe boxes they bring. So in the back of your mind, be thinking, what can I do to make this a positive experience for this person? To let them know that we appreciate their gift of the shoebox, but that we love them through Christ. Here's some ideas of putting up the Christmas tree and Christmas music, providing snacks. You can also set up a card writing station. We have All About Me pages that kids can color. We've seen photo booths and craft stations. Sharing photos from the past collection weeks is something that you know, so think about that for next year. Take pictures during National Collection Week that you can then share next year when you open up your drop-off location again. And then the third value is being active. Your drop-off location should be a hub of activity. So when donors walk in, they feel the excitement and they feel the joy that is in the air. When they walk in the door, even before they get in the door, you're greeting them to make them feel welcome and you're involving them. But think about also how you can impact your community. If you involve community members in your drop-off location, you're giving them an opportunity to experience the ministry and to experience the joy of receiving those shoebox gifts. So we're strongly encouraging you to look outside your own churches for your volunteers to help during that week. Some ideas of things that people have done in the past is they've had prisoners come help and load the cartons on certain days. They've gone to schools and talked to different clubs and gotten high school kids involved. Go to your just your local clubs and organizations. We want the community involved, one, to expose the ministry to more people, and two, gives them an opportunity to really learn what Operation Christmas Child is all about, that it's more than just a shoebox gift. Use your drop-off logs and contact the churches that have participated in the past or individuals and groups and see if they'd like to come and volunteer during that week. It's a great way to expose them to the ministry and to possibly draw in some year-round volunteers. I talked about there are lots of organizations that require service hours, and so that's a great way to involve them as well. And we've also talked with our area coordinators this year and really encouraging them to help you get the area team involved. So church relations team members and community relations, all the other ministry areas who have worked all year long to this point to generate those shoebox numbers, they will benefit greatly from being able to volunteer at your site and be able to see what happens when the shoeboxes come in. A few reminders when it comes to being active. You have short-term volunteer forms, and we'll be going over that form in a little bit. But we also have an email that you can send out, and you'll get this from your central drop-off team leader, and it allows them to fill out that form before they come and view the training video before they arrive for their shift. And then also you want to make sure those forms go in your closure packets and that you total up the volunteer hours on your drop-off summary sheets. So promotional, this is our big event. No other time of year do we have the opportunity to have the project leaders and churches and groups and individuals, all those people come in, even like people off the street, like the gentleman who saw the sign. This is the perfect time to involve the community and to share about the ministry. And when I say share about the ministry, I'm talking about making sure they understand that it's more than just a shoebox gift, but that we have a program called The Greatest Gift, which shares 11 stories about Jesus, and every child gets the Greatest Gift booklet when they receive their shoebox. And then we have the discipleship program, The Greatest Journey, and that's where we go through 12 weeks of classes and we share with the children about what it means to be a disciple of Christ. It's an opportunity to share with them how churches are being planted because of this ministry. We want to make sure that the average person who is unfamiliar with Operation Christmas Child walks out knowing that this is an evangelism project. This is about evangelism, discipleship, and multiplication. and that we are truly transforming lives, and that we are reaching children for eternity. Every donor needs to know more when they leave than when they came in. Think about, I guess I got ahead of myself on that slide, but anyway, just connect the dots. Share with them some impact stories, spiritual impact stories, and you can go on the extranet and pull down a few of those and just set up a little laptop and have those playing, so when donors come in, they can view those short 2-minute videos to see how the shoebox is impacting people's lives. This is our a sample of a promotional resource table. We have noticed, one thing that we just really took note of this past year is every single drop-off location had a great promotional table. They had the greatest journey promoted. They had shoe boxes on it. They were promoting year-round volunteer opportunities. They were promoting BASBO, which is Build a Shoebox Online. All of those things were, all of those elements were there. The problem was it was not a table that was utilized. It was either in the back of the room or off to the side or not as dressed at all. We don't want you to have just a promotional table. We want it to be a resource, and we want you to have a volunteer who is bringing every donor to that table and talking to them about the greatest journey and the greatest gift, sharing with them about becoming a year-round volunteer. And I know it often feels like you're a salesman when you're trying to bring people on the team, but don't look at it that way. You're just there to ask the question. You're not there to persuade them or try to change their minds about anything. Just share information about the ministry. We have found that when people actually know what it's about, they want to be involved. And a great way to segue into that is just say, hey, did you know that only 20% of churches in our area participate in this ministry? Would you like to be a part of getting more people involved in it? Or you could say, I can see that you're really passionate about Operation Christmas Child. Would you like some information about year-round volunteer opportunities? And we'll have packets available that you'll pick up when you get your kit or when you get your cartons. And we'll have sign-up sheets that you can print out, and you can capture people's information. Use this table as a resource, not just as a pretty table that looks good in your room. Make sure that you're telling them about the greatest gift and the greatest journey and building a shoebox online. And also about prayer network partners. This is a great opportunity to sign people up who are not interested in being on the area team year-round, but they have a heart for prayer and they want to be a part of the ministry. They fill out the little card. We ask that you don't let them send those in, but keep those cards and then send them with your closure packet, and we will get them to the right place. But we really want to promote the ministry as much as possible. You might be the only person who has an opportunity to share with them about the year-round team. Mm-hmm. You can show them the area team chart. I'll just let you kind of look these over. And then the fifth value is being efficient. Volunteers should be welcomed and they should be equipped. We want to provide that prayer and devotion time for them, the snacks, make sure they've got the training video, make sure that they know how to connect the dots of the ministry and that they have an opportunity to see some of those impact videos, and then share with them as well the opportunity to serve on the year-round area team. And then accurate. Why do we need to be accurate? We have 389 drop-off locations in 15 days to process all that information. So your accuracy is vital to us being able to do what we need to do in the regional office. Your partnership in that is greatly appreciated, and it helps us meet our deadlines with excellence. The closure packet. So your closure packet, and you got that comes with your drop-off kit, but it has your drop-off logs, your summary sheet, and your short-term volunteer forms. And then the other thing you're going to need to, aside from putting all that in your closure packet, you're going to need to email the Excel spreadsheet with the drop-off logs to your central drop-off team leader or your logistics coordinator by November 22nd. Make sure you keep copies of all of your paperwork, and then make sure that your shoebox numbers that are written on the carton matches the numbers on your drop-off summary sheet. You need to make sure you're balancing every day with those numbers. Here's just an example of what happens if each drop-off location is off by 5 shoe boxes, and how that exponentially grows. Your shoebox numbers that you report on your summary sheet are what we use when calculating how many shoe boxes go to a distribution. So if you say you've got 100 shoe boxes, but in reality you only have 5, and we invite 100 children to that drop-off distribution, we're going to be 5 short. So it's super important to avoid those clerical mistakes. Make sure the number of shoe boxes that go in the carton match the numbers that go on your drop-off log, and that those match your summary sheet. And I know for all of you new people, because I've been in your shoes, that you're thinking, this is not rocket science. I can do this very easily. I know how to count. She's going over this and over this, but I can do it. I cannot tell you how or why, but you will come across a day when your numbers are not matching, and you've got to balance them at the end of that day. Somehow, some way, the numbers get off, and if you don't balance them at the end of every day and make sure your numbers are correct at the end of every day, you will not be able to find a mistake at the end of the week. And the last thing you're going to want to do on that last Monday is open up every box and recount. Open every carton and recount your shoe boxes. So we strongly encourage you to balance at the end of every single day. So now we're going to talk about forms. The first thing I want to tell you is that use black or blue ink only when filling out your forms. And then when you get your original forms, make copies of them. Make copies of the volunteer logs, the drop-off logs, and the summary sheet. And then put those originals in a page protector or in a separate place where your volunteers can't get to them. So that as you're going through the week, if you run out of forms, you've got originals to make copies. So make sure that you keep your originals separate so that you can make copies. We're going to talk about the short-term volunteer log. The first thing I want you to note at the top is the location code. The location code, if you're a central drop-off, gets a C, and if you're just a drop-off, you put a D there. And then the 5 digits is your zip code. So it's going to be D for drop-off, and then whatever your zip code is. And then they fill out the rest of this information. You have the opportunity to send this form to your volunteers ahead of time so they can fill it out ahead of time, and then they can fill in their hours as they go throughout the day. Reasons that this form is so important is that it ensures our volunteers are properly recognized. It also provides lists of volunteers for next year's recruiting efforts. And it ensures volunteers will receive Operation Christmas updates, child updates throughout the year. And as a nonprofit organization, we're required to report volunteer hours. So this information is very important for the ministry for our nonprofit status. And then the next form is your shoebox drop-off logs. Again, the location code needs to go on that form. And you'll notice this form has room for 2 different donors. The thing that I want to point out is never, ever, ever cut this form in half, and only record the same day's information on it. So if you're filling out this form for November 13th, and at the end of the day you don't have anybody for the bottom half of the form, leave it blank and start a new form for November 14th. But do not cut off the bottom portion of that. The drop-off logs help us, they provide an abundance of critical information. They help us with recruitment of volunteers, and they verify the shoebox gifts that are collected. And what we encourage you to do is to have someone from your team, one of your volunteers with legible handwriting, fill out those drop-off logs so that they can capture the information in a legible way, and also encourages people to give us all their information. And you're going to run across people who say, I don't want to give you my email address. We are not going to strong arm anybody to get their information, but we strongly encourage it. It is critical information for the ministry, but we certainly don't want to offend somebody by insisting that they provide that information. And then your summary sheet. The summary sheet for the central drop-off team leader looks a little bit differently, and you'll get some information about that. But for all of you drop-off team leaders, again, your location code is a vital part of the sheet, and then filling out the numbers. You want to make sure that each day your total shoebox numbers matches the numbers that are on your drop-off logs and matches the numbers that are in your cartons. If you do that every day, your numbers will balance at the end, and that's what we need to have you do. You'll notice at the bottom of this form, it asks you to fill out how many volunteers you had and how total of your volunteer hours. Also critical as to how many cartons you used and how many cartons you returned. And so we want to make sure that we know how many cartons to provide for your drop-off location next year. And so this information is critical for us to be able to do that. So your keys to success: be prepared. Plan everything that you can ahead of time. Get your volunteers set up, all of that. The next thing is be flexible. Things are going to pop up and you're going to think, what do I do with this? Be calm, pray, be flexible, and just be prepared that things are going to go wrong. Things will come up, but you can get through it. Be creative, obviously, in how you decorate and your environment and that sort of a thing. But organization is the key to it all. If you are organized and make sure that you've got all your paperwork filled out correctly, you will have a successful week. Be connected. Be connected to your volunteers and to the donors. Make sure that everybody who walks into your location feels the love of Christ. And then finally, be responsible. Make sure that your accuracy and your efficiency are covered and that you have done all you can to ensure that success. A few reminders: when shoeboxes come into your location, you do not open them, you do not go through them. If someone does not have a label on their shoebox and you're not able to ask them, it can be done at the processing center, but you should not be opening shoeboxes. If a donor does give you money or a check, then we want you to put it in the shoebox in front of them, and you can just put it in any one of their shoeboxes. Don't sort through them by gender or age, and then do your best to get at least 16 shoeboxes in each carton. Some tips on cartonizing: the bottom row of your carton, you want to stack vertically. And if you have all go boxes, you'll be able to get 15 boxes across the bottom there. And then you're going to stack them horizontally. What I found helpful to do is stack my bottom layer vertically with go boxes when they would come in, and then save the top layer for those odd-shaped cartons that come in, and mix those with those oversized boxes. I would make sure that you only have adults or mature, well-chaperoned teenagers who are allowed to cartonize, and then guard your Sharpie. You need to have the keeper of the Sharpie, so only one person is writing on those cartons. And the only thing you're going to put on your carton is the number of shoeboxes in it. There are other things that you can mark on your carton, but that is all done at the processing center. So the only thing you're going to mark is the number of shoeboxes that go into it, unless your central drop-off team leader tells you differently. And then make sure that two people are verifying the count in each carton. One thing that I saw that I thought was very helpful was the people cartonizing on the inside flap of the lid in pencil would write how many shoeboxes were on the bottom layer and how many were on the top layer, and then the second person would verify those numbers before they closed the box. So that's a great way to guarantee your numbers are correct. So for transporting the shoeboxes, make sure you have a plan. You're going to need to recruit drivers. It could be from your men's ministry. We had a local furniture company who donated their truck and their driver, and so we didn't even have to pay for the truck. They just donated it. So that's a great option for you to look at. Church vans are great. You also need to work with your central drop-off team leader to schedule a time for your drop-offs, and they may do that at the National Collection Week prep meeting. You're going to bring your closure packet to the central drop-off and leave it with them, and then you need to discuss with your central drop-off team leader if they need you to bring volunteers to help you unload. A lot of times the central drop-off team leaders will have their own volunteers to unload, but you need to make sure that you clarify that with your central drop-off team leader. So things to remember after National Collection Week. Look back, take time to just celebrate God's provision, share encouraging stories from the week, and then looking ahead, talk with your team about ways to improve for next year. In January or February, there's going to be a collection week, collection network meetings to discuss the growth and strategic plans for 18, and also to go over what went well and what didn't go well the previous year so that we can always be improving. I want to remind you all again to send me an email with your attendance. Just type your name in the subject line so that I can mark that you have been trained on this. And then I'm opening it up to questions.
Hey, Tracy, this is Kathy Driver. Do we know how many plastic boxes, the new plastic boxes, would fit on a bottom layer?
I do not know that. Shelley or Jody, do you know that answer?
I don't. This is Shelley.
No, I don't know either.
I guess we can practice at the National Collection Week prep meetings.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions?
Tracy,
Yes,
I have one. This is Lisa Wilder.
Yes,
I went to our area meeting last night, and several of us have not received our kits yet. Who do we get those from?
So did you order a kit on the extranet?
No. Is that what we have to do, get on the extranet?
Well, a standard kit at this point will be sent to you, and it will arrive within the next week or so. So
Okay.
I would say you had your National Collection Week prep meeting last night?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
And none of us have received a kit, so we didn't know what we needed to do.
I would say if you don't have your kit by the 30th, that I would send a help desk ticket through the extranet.
Do you include, or are there banners and such included for promotion in those kits?
Yes.
Okay, because I'd really like to get it now to promote, because that's kind of late. Wait until November, the 1st of November.
I think I have. Here's the information. This is all that should be in your kits, your drop-off kit, just to kind of give you a heads up.
Okay. And so should I just wait, or should I pursue it with somebody as to where that is?
I would say to wait a little, give it another week, and if it hasn't arrived, then I would contact them.
Okay. And who do I contact if it hasn't?
I would go through, send a help desk ticket
Okay.
through the extranet.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Someone else have a question?
Yes, this is Kathy Hendricks. I wanted to know, what are these go boxes?
Okay, so the red and green boxes with the Operation Christmas Child logo on them, we call those go boxes, which means gospel opportunities.
Oh, okay.
Every shoebox is a gospel opportunity, but we just refer to those specifically as go boxes.
Okay.
Good question.
This is Kathy Branch. I was going to ask the same question about the kit. I did order my kit on the extranet, but I have not received it as of yet. So I should be receiving that within the next week?
Yes, I would think so. If you have not received it within the next week, then I would contact them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We have other questions?
Do you have a question?
This is Nancy Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question, not necessarily about this, but about the e-learning courses that are supposed to be on the extranet.
Yes.
I have gone to the resource tab and pull that down, and they're not there.
So if you, for logistics team, we do not have the online courses available yet for logistics. Those will come out in 2018. However, if you go to resources and then downloadable resources and then you go to handbooks and ministry specific training. That's where you got your handbook from. You can look at your handbook there, and then there are also videos that are embedded into that handbook that you can watch that will be extra training for you at this point.
Okay, that's what I was wondering was the videos. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? Can anyone share with me some creative ideas that you've thought about of what you want to do at your drop-off location? Whether it's involving volunteers or about your setup or the team that you're planning to engage. Promotional ideas.
Tracy, this is Judy Conaby. I have a question about an art. Is there something pre-done or ready to put in the local newspaper about National Collection Week and a drop-off location? Or do we have to make that up if we want it in our paper?
We have, Shelley, I'm not sure if she has access to that as a drop-off team leader. Can you help with that answer?
Yes. Hey, Judy. We actually have a media coordinator that works with us. And in our developing areas where we don't have a media team member, she's going to be sending press releases to all media outlets. So we will take care of that from our end.
Okay. So even in our local paper, they'll send something, or you'll send it to me and I'll submit it to the paper?
No, we have a list of all the media outlets, and so she'll actually send it to all the media outlets. Now, we can't guarantee that they'll print it, but we will send it to them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Kathy Branch, and we had the same question. This is our first year as a drop-off church, and we have already taken some things to our local paper. So are you saying that you all will automatically send to our paper?
Yeah, like our media person will do that, and it's okay that you've already contacted them. I mean, we're not, but yes, we do have a super regional media person who will handle it.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
Some of us aren't smart enough to ask questions yet. This is Kathy Branch speaking.
Well, all right. I am going to ask Jody if she wouldn't mind closing us in prayer.
I'd be glad to. Dear Lord, we just want to praise you for who you are, Lord, for just allowing us to serve you and be a part of this ministry, Lord, to grow your kingdom. Lord, we just are excited to see what's going to happen in this next few weeks with collection, Lord, just how you're going to show up and provide these boxes that are going to go across the world, Lord, to share your word, the gospel, Lord, and to be able to bring so many to know you and to grow in you and to disciple and to multiply out to the remainder of those who don't know you, Lord. And Lord, we just pray blessings over each of these volunteers and their drop-off locations and their teams. Lord, that you'll just empower them and give them just the energy and the excitement and the passion, eyes to see those who are hurting as they come into their drop-offs, Lord, that they can pray over. Lord, that you will just give them a vision to design their drop-off as a magnet for those who are hurting as they bring in their boxes, that just need to see your love, Lord, that know very little about Operation Christmas Child, Lord, and they can be educated and excited and And you will raise up other volunteers through this as well, Lord, so that we can grow our area teams and grow the ministry to serve you even better, Lord. We thank you again for just all the incredible things that you do for us on a day-to-day basis. And Lord, we know we go over all these details and plans and paperwork and all these things, Lord, and it seems sometimes to be a lot of busy work, but every bit of it, Lord, we lift up in honor to you for the purpose of spreading the gospel around the world, Lord. We love you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you all so much. If you don't have any more questions, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you registering your attendance. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Tracy, this is Kathy Driver again.
Yes, ma'am.
Will the recording of the call be on the Box website, or will you email